Ashton, we just closed on your house, I think week before last.
28th, 27th or 28th, I believe. Yeah, 28th.
27th or 28th. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited to have bought your property, but I just wanted to give everybody a sense of what your experience was like. So first off, how did you find us, and what prompted you to kind of go this route as opposed to just going what, the normal route
Real
most people
estate.
go to sell their house? Yep.
Well, we started thinking about this back in July, and
Okay.
because it's the housing market. We were just like, whoa,
Right. Yeah.
and so we were going to go through a real estate agent, and
Uh-huh.
then my husband didn't want to because we had a flood, and we were out of the house 6 months last year, and State Farm whatever paid, and we paid a lot, and we remodeled, and my husband basically did all the work. And so he was like, I put so much work in this house, he didn't want to move. But then his kids moved to Illinois, and it was too hard for him to be there. So then he told me, okay, let's sell. And I'm like, yes. And so I didn't want to deal with a real estate route because I knew that regardless, they were going to have us do some upgrades. And even after the remodel of last year, or it was hell. I can't even tell you. It was, I'll never want to go through a remodel again. And I did call many investors, and I was really ready to give up. I maybe 10. And honestly, I believe this because I've worked in customer service my whole life. I've had my own business, me and my husband have our own business right now. I think that the first person to talk to at a company makes all the difference.
Right.
And I submitted something online to just a bunch of different people. And I get a call from someone named Peggy, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, it's just another person who's probably gonna be a disappointment. And within 5 minutes, like 2 minutes actually, I was like in love. I was like, this lady is she was so sweet, she was so kind, she was so thorough. And every little question I had and every question she had for me, she was just, the customer service was impeccable. And you just can't find that these days. And I had also dealt with investors who offered maybe a few thousand more, right? But I do my due diligence, and even if I get a bad feeling, because it's a big sale, I'm not selling a bed, it's a house.
Right.
And I had told those people no, just because they were doing shady stuff, and I just had bad gut feeling. And just starting with Peggy, it was just like smooth sailing, and she came back with an offer so quickly, and I was just like, yeah, it's really started with her. So my hat's off to her big time. She deserves like a big raise. Bonus.
Awesome. Okay, great. And so once you did decide to go with us, can you just kind of explain like how the experience was for you from beginning to end?
Yeah, it was so easy, so she basically set it up where it was just supposed to be Jonathan that came out. And I had told her that I was going to send her in advance an inspection we had previously gotten 2 weeks prior, just in case you guys saw anything, and I didn't want to waste your time. I lived in Venice Beach for 10 years, so I know where San Pedro is.
Oh,
and
nice.
I worked out there at a tanning salon forever. I loved it.
Kidding. Right.
Yeah. And so she was okay. She said, that's fine. So, but it ended up being Jonathan and John Medina. And small world, John Medina, he said he grew up in San Pedro. I said, do you know? And I named my boss who owned the tanning salons. He said, I went to high school with him. And I'm like, what? I was like, I love him more than my dad. Like, he's my dad. I love my boss, the old boss. I love him. I still talk to him. And he went, and he's married to his high school sweetheart still. So he knows his wife as well.
Right.
So I was just like, okay. So, and then they came through. It was easy, it was swift. Everybody was really nice. And, you know, I just gave them honest answers, and they left, and I was nervous all weekend because I just kept thinking the ball's going to drop, something's going to happen, the ball's going to drop. But it didn't. And so I think it
Awesome.
was the following Monday, I got a call. Oh, then I got a call from somebody saying it was good to go. And then Brian called and introduced himself. He didn't have to do that. He
Right.
just called to introduce himself. That's it. And oh yeah, because Peggy had told me how it was going to work from here on.
Right.
And he didn't have to do that. And I thought that was great too. Really great.
Awesome. So someone's considering going this route. They're considering John Medina. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, I mean, this is my first time selling. I was not married to him when he bought it, but
Right.
I know that selling a house is really, can be a nightmare. And I've heard horror stories, you know, because, you know, there's always going to be one bad seed that makes
Right.
every company that does that like bad. You know, I
Right.
don't look at it that way, but it was such smooth sailing from, you know, Peggy to Jonathan, meaning John, to Brian, who was amazing, and then Emily, who was amazing, because I had my husband put down the business account, and it was like this whole issue. And you know, and even John Medina, he was nice enough to advance us a couple of thousand because we had an interesting business
Right.
situation. He didn't have to do that. Nobody had to
Right.
do that. And I felt like everybody went above and beyond. And to me, like I said, you just don't see that these days in customer service. And that's what I pride myself on in my business, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And that I can think that's what makes people keep coming back. The honesty, the integrity of it, the genuinity. Like I
Yeah.
called Brian today, you know, and I was like, oh, hey, Ashton, you know? So it's just, I was just like, I'm blown away at how wonderful it was. And I just think it was the universe handed this to me on like a silver platter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it means a lot to hear all that. And you know, I
And I'm
haven't met you
so
before, but
appreciative. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm so appreciative of all you guys.
Yeah. And we're very appreciative that you put your faith in us and trust in us, and it worked out. And so we're super happy to, you know, set you off on the next chapter, and
Yeah,
thank you for choosing to work with us on the sale of your house.
absolutely. And I obviously, I mean, I will refer you. I wrote a Yelp review before I even met Jonathan, and we even came to the house, just because Peggy was so wonderful, you know?
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody likes to write negative reviews, but I like to give praise when praise is due, you know?
Right.
So,
Awesome.
and you guys deserve it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashton.
Of course. Thank you.